Of all of Fred Halsted's taboo-shattering gay porn films, LA Plays Itself, his initial film, is his grand opus. Although the film is not considered a masterpiece in any conventional way, it is beloved by Halsted fans and art critics, as it broke new ground while the groundwork was being laid in gay erotic cinema. Fred Halsted's notorious autobiographical portrait of Los Angeles that some have called Boys in the Sand's evil cousin. This gritty and highly edited piece of work sent a shockwave throughout the fledging gay liberation movement and the art establishment. LA Plays Itself is a dream porn masterwork that would be analyzed, criminalized, and investigated for decades to come. And it's the first time in cinema history we see a man get fisted on screen. This is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. Before we continue, I want to remind you to help this channel by clicking the subscribe button and selecting the bell icon for notifications to see more content like this. Every little bit helps, and I appreciate it. Fred Halsted began making his film in 1969 while still in the closet. He was 27 and had become a landscape gardener. While working one day, it began to rain. Not able to do anything during the rain, Halsted would stay home, smoke a few joints, and think about his life. That is when he realized he had something to say about sexuality and his personal interest in sadism. Sadism is defined as the tendency to derive pleasure, especially sexual gratification, from inflicting pain, suffering, or humiliation of others. LA Plays Itself was written before Stonewall, but filmed after the event had generated commemorating marches in several cities, including Los Angeles. Halsted rejected the linear structure common to both the liberationist political narrative about coming out and the new pornographic films that featured a meeting, sex, and a leaving. LA Plays Itself is a film on violence and urban squalor featuring hustlers and vagrants that reveal the City of Angels' dark side. LA Plays Itself begins with a shot of a sign that appears at the city limits of Los Angeles. The population figure listed, 2,535,700, recalls a distant era of the city's growth. The scene changes to the mists of Malibu Canyon, an unlikely oasis at the edge of a metropolitan area. In voiceover, we hear a fragment of a conversation between Halsted and a man with an accent that identifies him as a former resident of Philadelphia or Baltimore. The man utters the words, "Los Angeles stinks," and Fred defends his city by saying that the place is filling up with New Yorkers. As the dialogue fades, we hear Japanese koto music, and nature shots take over the visuals. A lone hiker pauses at a stream, where we meet a naked blonde man who offers to give him head. They are interrupted by shots of approaching bulldozers, surely a critique on the city's economic growth and destruction of natural beauty. The second half of LA Plays Itself grows a bit darker. We see an older man seducing and violating a younger, innocent-looking guy. This sequence has commonly been referred to as a dramatization of how Fred Halsted's affair with Joey Yale began. Voiceover dialogue introduces the younger guy as a cowboy hustler newly arrived from Texas, eager to mess around with Halsted, whom we hear and see in the picture. Halsted offers to show him the ropes, and things get quite literal very quickly. Yale's character is bound, beaten, and kicked, and at the climax of the movie, fisted. Yale did indeed get fisted, however he did not finish the scene, and the lack of footage in the editing room forced Fred Halsted to shoot more material with a man who might be called a stunt butt. Also, the voice we hear in the film didn't belong to Yale's either. This final scene was cut out of home video distribution due to the attention it would draw from law enforcement for featuring extreme hardcore. Detractors of the film were extremely upset because they felt the filmed fisting scene was exaggerated and could be reenacted by home viewers with dire consequences. Viewers be warned. If you didn't know any better, and there weren't full-on penetrative anal sex scenes involving two men, you would confuse LA Plays Itself with a surreal, avant-garde documentary film. The film is less linear than many viewers and analysts try to make it out to be. It is absolutely experimental and in the vein of Kenneth Anger. From the beautiful outdoor scenery to the documentary-style grit of early 1970s Los Angeles, I can see how people in the industry really didn't know what to make of this film. In his book Role Models, John Waters uses the term outsider porn to describe auteurs, amateurs, and genius created outside of the boundaries of porn. Fred Halsted fits this description very well. The reason so many viewers and critics at the time had a hard time placing this movie was its highlighting of the sadomasochistic lifestyle it celebrates. Just as with many movements, the gay liberation movement was making strides and did not want what they considered a poor or unfavorable depiction of what it means to be gay. The discourse was just starting. Kenneth Anger had just given the world Scorpio Rising, and Tom DeSimone had just documented a study on S&M culture by way of signature films. And here comes Fred Halsted busting the door down. The disinterest in the penis and in penetration as a mechanism of orgasm in S&M meant that full intercourse, if present, is incidental in these movies. But S&M was already becoming tamed and commercialized by leathermen who sported the look but did not fully participate in the intellectual considerations Halsted hoped were part of genuine S&M. The city that LA plays itself makes available to us only exists at this point in time in history. To try and reconstruct the LA that Halsted knew would be like imagining another world. LA plays itself occupies a place in pornography without delivering what we all have come to expect from a typical porn film. As author William E. Jones says in his book, Halsted Plays Himself, a film so naive and urgent could never be made again. LA Plays Itself made Fred Halsted gay porn's first author, using sex acts as a way to break down boundaries and have a revealing conversation about sadomasochism among other so-called perverts. By the time you see the now infamous fisting scene at the end of the film, any boundaries that existed when you started the film are gone. It is still revealing. Fun fact: Halsted lent his talent to a film called Eroticus by Tom DeSimone. In this film, which featured LA Plays Itself heavily, Halsted alleged that DeSimone changed the ending of the film's highlight to a shot of a 1969 LA Times headline reading, "New Weird Cult Linked to Tate Murder." Halsted believed this slight revision alluded to the fisting scene ending of his film being associated with the Manson family's torture and killing spree. He called DeSimone's addition a comment on a subculture he does not agree with, but Halsted enthusiastically embraced. For that reason, Fred Halsted denounced Eroticus. You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I am your host, Ike Grande. Demystifying Gay Porn can be found on every podcast directory as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, Discord. And if you like what you're watching and want to be a part of the process, head over to patreon.com/demystifyinggayporn, where you can help support this channel and I can continue making content like this. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Cheers.